Because if you have value, you're telegraphing to people that, hey, I'm here, but it's a privilege to be like with me. And I'm not saying that in like condescending way.
What's going on, guys? It is Ray.
And this is Max.
And this is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts. We're coming at you today with a great topic. It's going to be advice, and it's how can you be a high value target?
Okay.
Interesting. But first, Max, as always, I'm going to ask you, what are you drinking?
So I'm drinking the mint special. We're going to show it to you right over there to try to make it very simple, very quick, and also very good.
Very good. Just 2 ingredients plus ice.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Oh yeah, super great.
Alright, so let's remind the viewers. So we're talking today about being a high value target, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I hear that, I'm thinking like, man, that's like some War Games reference or something like that. So I'm like, why don't you break down to me like a definition of what a high value target is from like your perspective?
So from my perspective, it's really, really simple. It's somebody that brings value and then that people get attracted to. So whether it's at work, people value what you bring to the table, your knowledge, what you can do for them. And in the pursuit of, I guess, partnership, friendship, sexual conquests, it's the fact that you have, we're trying to be polite here, it's the fact that people look at you and they say, okay, yes, I would like to get involved with this person because you have attributes that not necessarily people have.
Yeah.
It's really just that simple.
No, I think that's hit the nail right on the head. So my thing is, let's educate everybody on some steps that you can take to become that person in your life. Because we all maybe had, as a kid, a mentor or somebody we looked up to, and we're like, man, we put a high value on that person in our life for this reason, that reason, or the third. But how do we get there? So I'd like to start by saying, step one, it's all about presenting yourself. And I mean, it's presenting yourself to the world, right? There's that old adage, which is dress for the job you want, not the job that you have.
Correct.
Right? So when you're working at a call center where nobody can see you all day and your entire team is in sweatpants and the only person that decides to even put on a collared shirt is the team manager, and you show up to work every day semi-formal, dress pants, an iron top, and everybody's like, wow, who is that dude? Not only does that dude outperform, but he has an attitude, he shows up, he's awake, he's not, like he's presenting himself appropriately, he's punctual. Like I said, the attitude is 100% of it. And he's dressed up, like he's got style, he's got all these things. So you got another example?
Yeah, I mean, it's really showing, I want to say, discipline, right? Because in your example, that person doesn't have to do those things, but the fact that they have the discipline to do it, and then it just goes to show they are willing to do the extra mile. So for an employer looking at this, they go, okay, well, he's outperforming people and whatnot. I can give him a bigger role knowing that he won't slip down because now he feels that he make it or whatnot. So it's basically like, it's a pursuit of always trying to go higher, but it's a discipline as well because you don't want to be involved in some, slacking off or deciding that, hey, okay, like I'm too good for the job now that I've reached a certain level, and you kind of like decide to not do the steps that got you there in the first place.
And I mean, we talk job specific on this point, but I mean, as you know, as the viewers, like I'm in construction, so me dressing up for construction could mean
that wouldn't work.
It could mean putting on a t-shirt, some ripped jeans, and going out the door.
Yes.
The one thing I will say is there's a term in construction, and it's called PPE, which is personal protective equipment.
Right.
With everything going on with COVID, you might have heard of that term, but that's what it means, personal protective equipment. If you show up every day and you have everything, and I mean everything, you have your respirator, you have proper jeans, you have proper high vis, like in terms of a t-shirt or a long sleeve if you're going to be cutting something or something. You got glasses, if they're not on you, they're around your neck or on your helmet's there, and you never forget anything. You've got your proper approved work boots. I'd say you're dressing for success because they can count on you. They know that you've got everything from your hammer to your tape measure on you. So again, I want a blue collar example because I know we are in a government town of Ottawa, but there's some of us doing some blue collar jobs too. So
That's fair.
point number 2,
Yeah.
I want to say is it's about your vibe. Now you've heard us on this channel talk about vibe a lot, and that's because we believe in vibe a lot. What you're putting out there in the world and what you're projecting to people. If I wake up or I had a fight with my girlfriend, or you know I feel lazy today or lethargic for whatever reason, or I'm sick, what is my attitude going to be in any scenario? So let's put an example of, okay, we'll do work again,
Yep.
but we'll come up with something other than work later in the video.
Yep.
But let's do work because it's the easy one.
Yeah.
We'll say this, right? I wake up, I'm feeling sick, right?
Yeah.
But I gotta power through, I gotta go to work, I gotta get my 40 hours. So, I'm not on. I'm not as quick, everything's going on. My body is reacting to me being sick. So I'm not 100% who I am.
Yeah.
And if I'm normally 110, which is the vibe that I put out, and now I show up and I'm an 80, everybody knows I'm sick or knows that something's wrong because they're like, Ray's not on today. His switch is flipped, like, it's on, but like it's not all the way up. Like, what's going on, Ray?
It's like a light bulb that's
Exactly.
like about to die.
Yeah, do you need a coffee or something like that? And it's like, no, like I'm sick. I'm not supposed to be here, but like, and don't get me wrong, you don't go to work sick in today with COVID and everything like that.
Absolutely.
But quick example, you got another one?
Yeah, I do. I mean, perfect example. If you're getting prepared to go out at any point, whether you're gonna meet up with some friends, right now we're probably gonna meet up at the park. So, but regardless of if you promise your friends, hey, like we're gonna do this 3 days from now, we're hanging out, right? If you feel like, again, we'll take your example. You feel sick, you don't feel like you're just not on. You would do a big disservice to your friends to like show up with that vibe because they're gonna pick up right away. And if the goal was to just have fun, now all of a sudden the attention is on you, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I do, it doesn't happen to me very often, but if I don't have this vibe, if I'm not in that, I have a threshold of like where I'm like, okay, if I'm not at like a 90% in terms of me being happy, then I'll just take myself out, like in the sense that I won't go out and I won't reach out to friends and be like, listen, like I got some stuff to do. Maybe, you know, I had a fight with someone. Maybe I'm in my mind because I don't want to be associated, and we know people like that. Exactly. Where you go out and then you're like, oh, well, okay, Max is good, but like eventually you're gonna see like the emotion come out and it's gonna be bad because we're all trying to have fun and then he's gonna bring up something.
Exactly.
So perfect.
You put yourself on the side.
Yeah, you put yourself on the side. So it's just a question of, hey, make sure that your vibe is always up because that's what like people will remember you as. Like they don't want to remember as, oh, you're kind of like that person that's like it's gonna be really really high and then really really low. They rather just have you on a happy middle.
Yeah, but it's all going to say that you're in the happy middle, but we're building something that's making you a high value target.
Yeah.
You know, like we're building something that's making you an asset rather than somebody's detriment.
Correct.
Right? In a scenario, any scenario.
Correct.
Your work, a relationship, you know, picking somebody up at a club, or in this case, a park because it's COVID.
Yeah.
You know, like, but these are the ways to increase your value. I do think that, you know, transitioning forward in the conversation, it's important to, again, if you're saying that you're valuable, right? And you're saying that you're elite or you're in a top 1%, what makes 1% 1%? That the other 99 aren't on that level, right? But if you're one of these kids, let's say, for example, and you're getting into school, right? You've applied everywhere.
Yeah.
But you've got the best marks in your class, you can get a scholarship anywhere, you would have options, right?
Yeah.
So I think based on that logic, not I think, obviously I know, based on that logic, the second that you do have options, all of a sudden your value increases tremendously. If you're working and all of a sudden, you know, a headhunter approaches you and it's like, hey, you know, you should be doing this. Like, you could be reaching your maximum potential by going and working in this other role. I'd love to see you in that other role. You can go back to your boss and be like, you know, like I don't have to do this.
Right.
Like I can go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to look for is obviously you put yourself in such in your own lane. I want to say, because if you have value, you're telegraphing to people that, hey, I'm here, but it's a privilege to be like with me. And I'm not saying that in like condescending way or anything like that, right? But like perfect example, right? Like you're my best friend, and like I'm not just saying, I'm not just putting the title, oh, you're my best friend, because it's like there was like obviously you proved to me that I can give you that title based on what we've accomplished, what we've been through, and whatnot, right? But in the same token too, I know that I bring something to the value, so you can call me that as well.
So on the friend part, right? Yes, we're best friends, but I know for you, just as it's been for me, there's been other best friends along the way.
Yes.
Right? At some point in your mind, well, at least in my mind, it's funny because whenever I talk to girls, it doesn't work like this. I'm not saying that's how it is, but it doesn't work like this. But in my mind, at some point in your relationship level with your friends, you get to a point where you're like, okay, but like if I had to pick one, who's my best friend? Maybe that's just me.
No,
but like I'm like, who's my best friend? And then it turns into not who's my okay, so that person's on top. Yeah. That person's my best friend.
Sure.
And then I'm like, but if I had to sort out the other 6, how would I like go about and line them up, right? Yeah. Because now again, I have options. Like these people, every one of them might be like, hey, raise my best friend.
Sure.
Raise this, raise that. It might be at work again, like, oh, hey, raise my best employee. And somebody else, if I have 2 jobs, it might be like, oh, well, raise my best employee. Yep. You know, you obviously aren't like that with girlfriends. You obviously aren't like that in your relationships where you're like, oh, wow, this is my best friend. It doesn't work like that. But all I'm saying is, to show that you have ability to have these options allows you to hold more value in the eyes of society.
Absolutely.
I don't know why.
No, I mean, it's pretty simple. I think it's because they value the fact that, hey, at any point you can leave. Like, that's powerful. Like, even saying the word no, right? Just a little segue. So, if you're doing something, anything in life, and you can't say no, this thing controls you, right?
So you're telling me that I need to be firm about my principles?
Yes, because that's another thing. Like someone that has value, right? If he's not happy with what is going on, he will talk. If he doesn't want to do something, he will have an explanation.
Or she,
for that matter. No, I don't want to do this. These are my reasons why. That brings something because they're willing to just put the principle on the line and then deal with the consequences and leave. We don't like, as human beings, we don't like to know that we can control people, because you know what we do? Whenever we know that, hey, that person can't say no to something, we're going to poke at it until their breaking point. I don't know why we do that, but we all across the board do that. Not even, and sometimes it's not even conscious. We're just going to be like, oh, that person can't say no to, I don't know. I cook cake. They can't say no. But every time they're going to show up, I'm going to make it a point of giving them cake. And then I'm gonna try to say, hey, you know what? Instead of you eating half a cake, now you can eat one. Well, it doesn't matter. It's all good. And you keep doing that to see where they're going to go with this. And then at the end of it, slowly but surely, you're starting not to have respect for that person, because you're just like, all they want to do is eat this thing. They know like it's going to kill them. They know they're not going to be healthy with this, but they can't stop themselves.
I thought you were going to say slowly but surely diabetes or something.
Well, there's that too. But I mean, diabetes leads to, issues, and then organ issues, and then at this point.
It's interesting to me because like when I'm discussing like being firm, right? There's a way about being firm.
Yes.
The coolest people I've ever met don't lose their cool. So like to me, that's always something that I'm aspiring to get to a level of.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy to the left of me right here, I've never really seen him ever lose his cool. Now I know for a fact he can't say that back to me, because I'm hot-headed as you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, he's still firm with his principles. If you ask him about his ideas on marriage.
Oof, yeah.
You ask him about wanting kids.
Yeah.
You ask him about, stop me at some point.
No,
Like,
yeah.
but like the thing is, these are firm principles. If I ask him, hey, or I tell him, hey Max, the meaning of life is just to procreate.
Yeah, it's gonna turn into something.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is, you can be firm, but again, don't lose your cool, because it's all about being this person. Now, I'm not saying you can't have emotions. I'm not saying to let it appear that nothing ever gets to you and your skin is, thicker than wood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What I am saying is, I'm saying just be firm, and if you have these principles, and people are going to do what Max is saying, which is trying to push your buttons.
Sure.
You got to be able to set a boundary and set a line. If you're setting a boundary in the sand with everybody, it's like, to me, it's the VIP section.
Yeah.
Always, right? At a club.
Right.
You can look at the VIP section, you can see who's in the VIP section, but if you try to go to the VIP section and you don't have a wristband, you better be pretty suave or know somebody, because if you don't, you're not allowed in the VIP section.
Correct.
So, what's the boundary? The boundary is this imaginary line that they considered cordoning off these 3 booths and turning that into a VIP.
Yeah.
What's the enforcement of the boundary? Well, in that case, it's actually like a bouncer who's hired by the club to enforce that. The boundary for you is set by, you got to be able to say, no, like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
And if this person wants to push me further, they got to know that, I'm willing to walk away. That's the boundary. That's your security guard in this example.
Yeah.
So, by doing all those things, I'm absolutely sure and 100% positive that you will increase your value to some degree. Now, I'm not saying that you will be a VIP, but you're on the road to becoming a VIP.
For sure. And then it's all about creating your own lane as well, right? Because obviously, if you're setting out boundaries, and if nobody's like, okay, you know what, this guy is too hard-headed, we can't deal with him, then it's like, okay, you create your own thing. It's like going to buy a car. You go and buy a car, it's the best deal we can do. Seriously? Yeah? Okay, cool. You take whoever you with it, you gotta be willing to walk away, because the minute you're willing to walk away, they will value what you bring. Because at any point, if it doesn't work for you, you're just saying you're out. And then you won't be manipulated. People will respect you more, because whenever you speak as well, you have an opinion. So it's not just a question of just being difficult to be difficult. There's a reason, there's a method to the madness, which is, hey, this is what I believe in.
And stand by it.
And stand by it, by any word, by any means necessary. Even if it means that you're going to take an L, which means okay, you might lose money, or you might lose a friend, or you might, have a disagreement with family. But it's if it's something that you're really strongly against or strongly for, and the people just want to disagree with you, it's okay to disagree with people. But I think in this society, that's what we're missing, is the fact that we're always thinking, okay, it's one side or the other, and then, we can't come together because, hey, you disagree on this, then I can't speak to you. It's not about that. It's you can respect somebody's thought process, they respect yours, and then you keep it moving. That's all.
Fair. Well said. Nicely wrapped up.
Yep.
Max, do you even need me on the show?
Come on now.
In any case, that wraps it up for us here today on Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts. I'm your host, Ray.
And this is Max.
And please follow us. We drop videos every Sunday, 2 new videos to be precise. We do great drinks just like this. And what are we drinking, Max?
We're drinking the Mint Special.
Mint Especial.
Especial.
Especial. So we do great drinks. We have advice just like this, telling you how to increase your value, make you a high target value. In addition to that, we do story time, which is where Max gets into a little bit about his personal life. I get into a little bit about mine. There's some wackiness, some zaniness, and that. Hit that subscribe button. We are on our road to 100 subscribers.
Yep.
Thank you so much for everyone that has hit the subscribe button. Let's keep it rolling.
Yep.
And what do we do to the notification button?
We hit the bell. Let's go to be notified. Let's go.
And we're out. Thank you so much.